Hello, I am 29% in to an audiobook by Scott Hwkns. Thought it was Stephen Hawkins for a second, Hawkins, but no, it's Scott Hwkns. The Library at Mount Char, which is at this point like a 2018 or 2015 novel, first novel written by this author, and he has not done a follow-up since then, and seems to spend most of his other professional life. It's been kind of like he's written computer books, and that may have been back when computer books were actually a thing. I don't know if they are as much a thing anymore. This is a fantasy novel, kind of set in fantasy horror novel set in our kind of a universe, except a universe where there's some kind of unimaginably ancient dude who has gathered 7 children together. We're mostly focusing on Carolyn. She seems to be the point of view character, except for when we skip into people who are less demigods. He selected them to train them in the different libraries, the different disciplines, and you're not allowed to talk between the disciplines, and there's a lot of murder and torture and horrific stuff. Like this guy, the father figure who seems to have disappeared, and that seems to be a mystery, is like did one of their own number, a particularly brutish, violent dude named David, kill him, or did somebody else? That seems to be the mystery of the novel. But he gathered them, has raised them, educated them. They can do basically magic. The father is he is like an elder god. That's the kind of, and he's running on that kind of lack of immoral kind of, I'm going to kill you, resurrect you, kill you, put you in a giant barbecue you, which is what happens to David, which seems to burn off his humanity, and has turned him into a seriously twisted dude. I mean, they're all kind of twisted. The first part of this book was just like, okay, you're all kind of amoral, twisted bizarroids, and there wasn't particularly any human connection. And then Carolyn tracks down this guy named Steve, who is a former thief, and she convinces him to burgle a police detective's home, which it opens with her walking down the highway covered in all his blood because she's murdered him. But she goes recruits this thief to go break into his house, at which point she seems to basically frame him for the guy's murder. The corpse hoving into view, shooting Steve dead, and after shooting, I don't know, and then she shoots the detective's corpse. It seems like animated corpse again, and he's dead. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on? It's definitely one of these what the fuck is going on. And then, we get more kind of interplay between these people. There's a ancient tiger god who seems to have been a loyal ally of the father figure, who's like, we're talking 60,000 or more years of being around on the planet, the father. And, there's something of like they've been kicked out of the library and they can't get back into it, but the tiger thing comes to try and get in, but it also can't get in and drops dead. And Kevin, is it Kevin? I can't remember what's his name, or was it Michael? Is the one who talks with small animals, tries to rush in but can't, and then Carolyn goes in, but Carolyn seems to not be affected, but has to pretend that she's affected, and drags it back. And then we switch to this guy who sounds like he was like a major army hero who, does not view himself as an army hero, or more doesn't particularly have any much compunctions about killing. It hasn't really affected him. He now works for the government. He comes in to visit Steve, who is alive and framed for the detective's murder, and they're talking when David shows up covered in blood in the prison. Gruesomely murders the lawyer that's with them, who is a dolt. We've, set him up as a complete dolt. Slices off his jaw, and then puts a spear right through his spears like kind of his spears right through his eyeball and kills him. And then picks him up and leaves, not killing this government guy who is definitely he's smart enough to kind of say, like, Carolyn, to mention her name, which seems to kind of David does not kill him as a result, because he knows to use that name, even though he doesn't use the other name of the tiger god. He doesn't use that right, so it's like, you're not quite right. So yeah, that's where we are in this bizarroid story. I mean, I've looked at the reviews of, even like the very positive reviews of it. It's like people like, wow. I do actually like the violence when it was like in the prison. It's like, okay, this is grounded, versus the kind of the stuff between the kids in this kind of weird compound, and father and torture. Like, that's like, okay, this is just like elder gods between them, and it doesn't affect me at all. So yeah, it's an interesting book, and it's interesting in the sense that it's the only book by this fellow. It's not like he's cranked out 15 of these since. It's like, okay, that actually makes it a little bit more special to me, that it's like, okay, maybe he had one book. Actually, it sounds like he had another book, but it was like with talking dogs, and he couldn't get anyone to publish it, which is hilarious. So yeah, that is where we are at the moment. 29% into the library at Mount Char. More videos later.